Bark. Heck. Bjork.
Oh, sorry,
Like
go on.
No, it's okay. The scene in the Timber State, in this TV station in Timber, where Safer goes over to the other side, is
Oh yeah.
one of the most hilarious scenes in the game, and it's also one of the best scenes in the game because it is the scene where Safer suddenly becomes more reasonable than Squall,
Mhm.
super abruptly, and Squall is just completely fucking caught out by it, and is just kind of like, "Buh?" And everyone's flipping their shit, screaming and yelling and running in all directions. Everyone's freaking out. There's like a war starting, and Squall's kind of like, when my rival joined the bad guy's side, now I can't have sparring matches and do mutual blood play with him anymore.
Mutual. God, fucking knife play called Cypher Daddy.
Excuse me, Squad Cypher's told like training sparring is absolutely knife play.
Mhm.
They're just going out to the training thing and being like, bitch, you can't cut me, bitch, you can't cut me, bitch, you can't cut me. And then it happens and they're like,
You know what I love about that? You know what I really love about that shit? Is like, if that cutscene is one of the most demonstrative of the thing that was going on in game dev at the time, which was big, long, huge budget FMVs. Like, you need to do absolutely fucking nothing, but it's gotta be long, it's gotta be huge, it's gotta be the most anime flashy shit ever to like, and because the game, you know, fucking EGM or what was it at the time? Like, what was the big one? Game Informer wasn't around then. It was, what the fuck was it? What's the magazines? What, you know what I mean? The magazine will fucking write about how cool the video is.
Or Next Generation.
Something like that. One of them, picture postcards. But like, everybody knew the magazines will write about how dope the game looks because of your long FMV.
Back when no one actually played games before they reviewed them, as opposed to now when they pretend they played them. But yeah, that's. Oh God,
I know you hate your ex, but he can kick hole in a truck, melee, and get the fuck over it. This dude's radical.
Good reason to stay on his good side.
Right? This dude is just living, like, comfortably in the belly of a fucking, like, space monster, and he's got a fucking punching bag set up and shit. Like, this radical motherfucker is just training in the belly of a fucking monster.
I'm reminded of that scene from Blade Runner where Leon's chasing Deckard through the streets and punches the hole in the fucking garbage truck, and he's yelling at him. It's painful to live in fear, isn't it? I'm just imagining that here.
Oh, man.
With Mei Ling subbing for Deckard.
Weakness fear the strong, Ricky. Oh, shit.
Leon's my favorite character from Blade Runner.
No, this wasn't the way. Wait, let me see if I can get a mech skill off of this. There's got to be at least one lead mech enemy in here for T260. Dude, I gotta admit, I've never seen Blade Runner. I really should. I don't know why the fuck.
I'd watch it and then I'd watch 2050 after it, because 2050 is a pretty fun movie. I have complaints about it. Most of them, though, are, if they were addressed, would make it even less palatable to mainstream audiences than it already is. My main complaint with Blade Runner 2050 is that it moves too fast in a lot of parts, and it's already almost 3 hours long.
Holy shit. That's... you know what? I'll give him credit for not splitting that up into a movie and a sequel. But that sounds like they crammed a lot in.
I'm incredibly impressed that it even made it to theaters as it is. Like, it's glacially slow, and terrifyingly subtle by mainstream standards right now, which is incredibly impressive that it even got into theaters at all. But by the standards of the first movie, it's still too fast-paced and too loud.
Well, just like all good cyberpunk movies, you can't tell any sort of narrative. You just gotta set the tone for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, it could have used at least 4 or 5 more long atmospheric shots with no dialogue at all. It could have used the Kurosawa treatment. No, it could have used a ton of like long ass shots of a dude staring out a window and nothing happening, just to let the whole thing sink in.
No, it's dark They've got 3 monitors. They're running just nondescript batch jobs on a command prompt on every one of the 3, and it's raining outside, and they look out occasionally and look really fucking angry and then go back to what they were doing.
One guy's smoking, and the other dude's playing the piano.
How could I not absorb Wonder Dog?
Yeah, the soundtrack was good, although
Nice.
I still think the soundtrack for the first one is better. I actually have one of those weird ass unreleased Japanese soundtrack editions. Why does Japan always get these, by the way? Japan always gets these
I did go the right way.
director's cut soundtracks that are like every single piece of ambient audio in the entire goddamn movie, and it's 4 hours long, and it's amazing. And it only gets released on vinyl in Japan, in like one store in Akihabara or whatever.
That sucks.
And then some god decides that they're going to digitize it and upload it to archive.org or whatever, and you're like, oh, whoa, there's the audio of the scene where he goes to the ATM.
Yeah, oh, that really dope track that plays for 15 seconds when he goes to the ATM. Yeah,
Except that's true. It is a really dope track that plays for 15 seconds. Actually, somebody did that with somebody just did that with Destiny 1. They dumped the entire 360 disc and decompressed every single piece of audio from it.
Oh, wow.
So all the old Dinklebot ghost lines are there. I was listening to a bunch of them that he uploaded to SoundCloud, and I was like, you know what? I did like Dinklebot. I don't mind Nolan North, but Peter Dinklage's ghost was something different. Not like every other robot.
There was a kind of happy accident there, in that they got someone way too expensive for what they were doing, and they got a very timid voice director.
Yes, but you know what?
But the thing was, like, it sort of worked out in that
it worked.
Peter Dinklage being bored to be there, and the director being too afraid to do more than one take, gave them dry and vaguely awkward takes, because it was the only take for every line. Everybody's like, yeah, yes, Mr. Dinklage, sir, you're doing perfect. And it worked out great for a robot. The ghost. Yeah, it worked perfect, actually.
One of the cool things about Peter Dinklage's ghost is that Peter Dinklage's ghost is definitively inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely not parsing the situation by human rules at all.
And that's not to say that Peter Dinklage wouldn't be a good voice actor. He probably would. But a great deal of what made that great was accident.
Yeah, that performance, though, is very much like he's overly loud when he needs to be loud. He puts emphasis on the wrong words. He thinks things are significant that don't make any sense. Sounds like you sound right now.
Discord too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody makes fun of Theon's hair. Ricky was like, ew, what's wrong with your hair? Are you sick? He's like, oh, god damn it, I'm a monk.
Wait, what's wrong with your hair? Are you sick?
That was what Ricky said, is, are you sick? And I'm like,
cancer very common in this world? Do they have, like, magical chemotherapy or some shit that people go through?
Does Tanzer eat a whole bunch of lead and there's just no getting away from the stuff?
Arsenic is actually in every single food in this world. Everyone dies young.
That's how I'm trying to be.
Their bones are streaked silver from all the mercury they injected.
Hold up, though. On the at Nomad's side right there, who the fuck is her right-hand man, Hank Hill, over here? Look at that fucking face. What is that? Who the fuck is that? What character model is that?
I'll tell you what. We should be pirating ships that run off a coal.
Ooh. Thanks, Discord. That was weird. But yeah, it's like, what the fuck? Who's that character? Oh man, that's another one of those charming places you can see the budget slip, where they just don't have assets, and they're like, alright, use the default RPG Maker guy that we got there, whatever. Another one of those is a bunch of the shopkeepers.
Composer, you know, it'll be fine.
A bunch of the shopkeepers are just scaled down re-renders of battle sprites for enemies. Like, there's shopkeepers that are just straight up like a pterodactyl, or one of the sword mechs. And like its idle state is just shifted 3 pixels up, 3 pixels down, 3 pixels up, 3 pixels, like it hovers, and it's the cheapest thing ever. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Wow, alright, Nomad, that's like, it's pretty nasty, actually. You're very battle lady. Wow, really? That's it? That's what starts the combat, is like, you call me fucking old? Alright, I'm throwing away all of my advantage here. I'm glad she's not a smart warlord. Wait, can you still hear me, or did Discord eat shit?
I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
I'm still here, but the screen share just died.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine it would have. It'll probably rectify itself in a few minutes when whichever one of my asshole neighbors is doing whatever, like, stops doing it.
Try stopping it and starting it again.
Turn my neighbors off and turn them back on again. Me calling tech support, knee deep in blood, they won't turn back on.
Damn you, Dr. What am I supposed to do after using the claw hammer?
Fuck. Nice. Is Kalani good? Probably not. I'm really looking for magic heal. If I can find an enemy that'll give Ricky magic heal, I'm in goddamn business. Because that's a heal that can be used on other people and costs weapon points, which is fucking busted. And it's stronger than the other heal magics. So really, really hoping here. Oh, I got Death Synthesis and turned into a thing with an axe for a face. That's pretty radical, actually. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, cool. Phew. I was just worried.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It goes poof.
I don't want Death Synthesis. Fuck Death Synthesis. Wow, Ricky's got 100. What the fuck? Oh wow, those are good. Those are good ass stats. I'm gonna look for Axe Beak if I can.
Just more eye pecking. More eye pecking.
That many Waza points? I mean, WP 100 WP is huge. Like fucking A. Goddamn the Dream Super Combo, or Dangerous Suplex Combo. Nobody ever did agree on what it was called. That one sprite was dead on the ground. Oh, that's goofy scripting. That thing costs 18, and that's like huge. It's like boss ending. To have a fucking 100 Waza points in this form is nuts.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, like aside from that, the next strongest like abilities in the game cost like 9 or 10. I think one spell costs like 12.
Yeah.
Although there's a couple spells that just empty your entire pool in exchange for commensurate damage. Actually, 2 spells that have that effect, that just have an infinity symbol next to the cost. And you're like, alright, I know what my super moves are. I will give them credit, like, the super moves in this game are like the most anime bullshit ever, and actually to a certain extent subvert the expectations the player has of like the game's mechanics. Like the high-end, for instance, the time magic shit. I think it's a it's a rune. I think stasis rune that stops time for the entire rest of the world and gives the caster 9 free turns in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, and after it's over, it like petrifies the caster and removes temporarily and removes all of their fucking casting points. But you get 8 free fucking turns to just burn your entire pool of shit on the boss, and it's like really, really hype. Like that's a fitting max level spell, to be honest.
Yeah, that is.
Like I don't think you were there, but the DSC that I just mentioned, the Dream Super Combo, like, is a hidden move that you don't even learn. You only have access to it if you have Slide Kick, Suplex, Giant Swing, and Babble Crumble, I think it's called.
Yeah.
All equipped at the same time. Did I ever fucking tell you about that shit? Ever,
I remember Babble Crumble.
Yeah, Babble Crumble. Well, if you have all of those equipped, you just gain access suddenly to a special option that the game never told you about before. I can't observe anything. It just says and all it says in the menu is DSC, and it costs 8, and it just tells you it's gonna cost 18 Waza points, and it's like, what the fuck is this? Turns out it's a fucking slide kick into a suplex, into, like, I think a couple more suplexes, like a giant jumping suplex after the first one. So it's like Zangief's atomic suplex, but stronger. Yeah. But instead of finishing that up with a pile driver for the third hit, in this case it would be like the fourth hit, instead transitions into a giant swing, hurls the enemy up into the air, follows into the air like Devil May Cry into an Azuna drop.
Holy shit, that's like half King, half Ryu Hayabusa.
Yeah, slide kick through the enemy's legs, suplex, flying suplex, giant swing into an Azuna drop, and it's like, it's a digit more damage than anything else in the game, and it's stronger than most 5-hit combos that would take your whole team to do, and it's just a solo move.
Jesus, that's a fucking Rainmaker.
It's fucking radical. And like they were really careful. The catch is there's at least one move among the like 4 that it takes that any skilled martial artist character is not talented to learn. So like for one of the characters, she'll easily learn everything except for slide kick, in which she has a 1 in 256 chance to spark, no matter what enemy you try to have her attack.
Yep. So you just got to keep using it.
There's a catch. Like, yeah, every one of the skilled martial arts is just bad at one of those 4 moves. So it's almost impossible for anybody to like learn that. And of course, none of those like learning talents are ever visible either. So again, one of those things no normal players would know. But I think the developers, and in this case, like I'll agree with them, they're totally intended there to just be like 3 or 4 people screaming on the GameFAQs forums, "Yo, you gotta use DSC," and everybody's like, "What the fuck is DSC? What the fuck's a DSC?" Like,
dumb, stupid crap.
Yeah, right. But they intended it to be one of those little mysteries, because this is PlayStation 1, and I don't think back in the day that there was, that pervasive expectation that the day the game comes out, there's going to be full walkthroughs and all that, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, it's true.
Like, there was still an expectation of mystery, and in a lot of cases, developers, intentionally creating that. It's just a magic water? Seriously? I fucked up all those nerds for the goddamn, like, Red Bull? Alright. Fuck me then, huh?
Yeah.
All this crap. Tried to do them. All those skeletons for nothing. Oh well. I don't know, this game's charming in a lot of ways. Like, as much as it's lost, like, as much credit as it's completely fucking lost on me, due to all the jank I've had to face fuck, there's a lot of cute shit in here.
Yeah, it's true.
Also, I think the goddamn, like, variety of enemies and the terribly low quality of every one of them is unintentionally super duper charming.
Yeah, that's what happens when that's what happens when you see something that's like not wholly objectionable from an earlier point in time. I think it comes off as charming, sort of just by default.
Yeah,
because we identify
the aesthetics of the atavistic are just charming by nostalgia.